Manchester United in advanced talks with Joshua Zirkzee's agent over summer transfer. New Jarrad Branthwaite set to go in, and also an update on Casemiro's future, with the player reportedly wanting to stay at Manchester United and fight for his future. These are some of the stories we will be discussing on this morning's live show. But before we get into that, please do me a small favour. Smash a like on today's video. Let's try and see 200 likes on this morning's show. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe to the channel as well. I'll be live throughout the whole of the transfer window. I usually do a video in the morning, a video in the evening, and if anything breaks during the day, I do also go live. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell to keep up to date with all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Right, let's start the show off by talking a little bit about Bruno Fernandes then, because obviously there's a lot of uncertainty about whether Bruno will stay at Manchester United next season. Apparently, he wants a new contract. Apparently, he wants to be the highest paid player at Manchester United, which I think is perfectly reasonable. But I think Manchester United are in a really precarious situation where they're trying to instill this new wage structure. They're trying to stop the big earners. Marcus Rashford obviously messes that whole thing up because we gave him a stupid contract a year ago, 350k a week. And now we've got this problem where any player who's performing better than Marcus Rashford is going to look at that and say, I should be earning what he's earning. And you know what? I don't disagree with them. Imagine if you were at your work and you were working 5 times as hard as somebody else. You were achieving way more, but yet you were being paid half of what the other one was being paid. You would say this isn't fair. And you would demand a new wage, wouldn't you? But the headline this morning coming out from Manchester Evening News is that a new contract for Bruno Fernandes is not a priority for Manchester United, but the club would be open to discuss this if he does decide to stay beyond the transfer window. So effectively, what Ineos' stance is, they're not going to be held at gunpoint with Bruno for a new contract. If he wants to stay, because he wants to stay at Manchester United, he believes in the project, he's honoured to be the captain, whatever it is, then a new contract may come. But they're not going to give him a new contract just to keep him. And I actually agree with that. I think otherwise you're being held to ransom, aren't you? I think he's 30 next month. He's probably going to want, a 4 or 5 year contract on 350k a week? That's ridiculous. So either he wants to stay, he wants to be part of this squad, he wants to be the Manchester United captain, and if he does, great. If he doesn't, and all he wants is a new contract, then I think you probably look to move him on, to be honest. But it'll be interesting to see what you guys think. Welcome to Joe, who has just joined the Daily Red Devil Members Club. Thank you very much for your support. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you are doing well. But yeah, so that's the update on Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, I'll keep you posted when we get more news on that front. But I actually agree with Ineos here that I think giving him a new contract right now isn't the correct decision. I think we should hold off for a bit. There's no rush. He's got 3 years left of his deal. He'll be 33 by the time his current contract ends. If he's not happy with being paid the amount he is now, if he thinks he can go and earn more somewhere else, and the honour of being the Man United captain doesn't mean anything to him, then that's fine. Move him on. But let me know what you guys think about Bruno in the comment section. Do you think he deserves a new contract? I want you to let me know. 350k a week is the amount of money that he'd be asking for. It'd be the highest earning player at Manchester United. Let me know in the comment section. For me personally, he deserves it, but I think we need to draw a line in the sand. That's my take on it. Let's move over to Jarrad Branthwaite then, shall we? Because obviously Man United submitted a bid last week, 35 million, which was rejected outright. David Ornstein is reporting that, not David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano is reporting that apparently in the last 24 to 48 hours, Manchester United have started inquiries on some players. It will be a very busy period for Manchester United. And then you've got Simon Stone from the BBC saying that Manchester United are keen to do business early in the transfer window and are now expected to improve their £35 million bid for Jarrad Branthwaite. Now, the question I have for you is, how much is Jarrad Branthwaite worth? What do you think is a fair price? Everton want 70. Man United have offered 35. Do they meet in the middle? I mean, meeting in the middle would be, around 55, 57 and a half, something like that. Me personally, I think this deal will happen, and I think the fee will end up being 50 million up front, plus about 8 to 10 million in add-ons. So the headline will be 60 million pounds, but it'll be 50 guaranteed, plus 8 to 10 in add-ons. That's what I think will happen, because if Everton get 60 million, even though it's not 60 million, then they can't really be upset about that. That's only 10 million less than what their opening asking price was. And you're always going to get a bit less. Everton need to sell players. They need to bring in money. Otherwise, they're going to start next season with a points deduction. So, I think 50 million plus add-ons would be my absolute limit. And even then, I think we're pushing it a little bit when you think that you could get Gonzalo Inacio. His release clause is 50 million. You could get Todibo for probably less than that. You could probably get Mark Gay, who's starting for the England side ahead of Jarrad Branthwaite for probably 50 million. Like, there are plenty of other options out there. Obviously, De Ligt as well. He's available for about 40 million. So either they take what we offer or we walk away. And that's the narrative that's being spoke about today. Manchester United will put in one more bid. Either they take it or we walk away, which I think is the correct decision. I like with the contract situation, we can't look weak in this transfer market. Ineos need to stamp their authority. They need to say that the old times are gone. We're not going to be pushed around anymore. Either you take what we want or we're going to move on elsewhere. And I think that's the correct way that it has to be, because so many times in the past, we'll go in for a player and then we'll negotiate for 3 months and then we'll end up giving them whatever the club wanted in the first place. We did that with Anthony, didn't we? We've done that with so many players. And it's just embarrassing. Like, you literally spend 3 months on a deal and then you give the club the amount that they asked for 3 months ago anyway. It's like, And I think it's going to take a while for these other rival clubs to accept that we've got new sporting ownership now and that we're not going to be effectively mugged over. But it needs to happen. And Ineos need to be really careful in this transfer window because... let me know what you think about that. How much do you think is a fair price for Jarrad Branthwaite? Moving on to Joshua Zirkzee. This deal is a lot more advanced than the Jarrad Branthwaite deal. So David Ornstein has said Manchester United are now exploring a deal for Bologna striker Joshua Zirkzee. He says the interest is advanced and there is now dialogue with his camp. No club-to-club talks yet, but United are considering an approach of £34 million, which is his release clause. Now, the interesting thing with Zirkzee, which I think a lot of people have kind of slept on, is that the release clause is only valid until July the 1st. So we've effectively got... How long have we got? Sorry, I've got that wrong. The release clause is only valid in July, so we don't have all summer to mess around with this. Effectively, on July the 1st, somebody is going to trigger that release clause and somebody will get Joshua Zirkzee. So what's happening now are the clubs that are interested in him are effectively trying to agree personal terms, agree the wages, agree the signing on fee, agree what his role will be at the club. And apparently the relationship between Manchester United and his agent are very, very good. The agent is asking for 15 million euros as an agent fee. But apparently, because he has such a good relationship with Manchester United, he is willing to accept slightly less. I don't know the exact figure. I'm trying to find out what the exact figure is, but that's what the headline is this morning, that apparently AC Milan are not willing to pay 15 million euros as a signing on fee. That they won't do it. So that's why Manchester United have effectively entered the race for this player, because AC Milan had already agreed personal terms with the player, but they hadn't agreed to pay the signing on fee, which was 15 million euros. But yeah, apparently the relationship between Man United and his agent are very good, and he is willing to accept a slightly lower amount. I don't know exactly why that is, to be honest. I don't know whether he represents some of our other players. Let me try and find out why that is, because I think it's quite an important detail. Let's have a look. So, usually it's that they'll have other players that we are either wanting or... So he has Region, who obviously was on loan last season. That's the only one I can see here. He's got Amari Forson. I don't really see how we have a good relationship. We let Amari Forson go. We sent Region back to Tottenham. I don't really get that bit of it. But, you just don't know, do you? Maybe Erik ten Hag has a relationship with them. Maybe... I don't know. I honestly don't know. Is he Dutch? Let's have a look. But anyway, so Manchester United are advanced in this. And Florian Plettenberg, the Sky Sports Germany journalist, this morning is reporting that Erik ten Hag desperately wants to sign Joshua Zirkzee. So we really, really need to get this deal done. I think he's the perfect player for what we're looking at. I think he's a different profile to Højlund, but I think they could both share the load between the two of them. And I think it's a really, really clever deal to do. But I want you guys to let me know, do you want Joshua Zirkzee at Manchester United? And if so, how much do you think would be a fair price for him? Let me know what you think in the comment section. I think obviously the release clause is there, so it would be stupid for us to pay any more than the release clause, but we just need to effectively negotiate down this signing on fee, because 15 million euros is a hell of a lot of money, realistically. Alex says yes, the agent represents other United players. Yeah, I've got the list up of all the players he represents, and the only one I can see is Omari Forson and Region, neither of which are still at Manchester United. Both of them have left. He's also got Douglas Luiz, he's got Coutinho, he's got a couple of other people. But yeah, so I think this Joshua Zirkzee deal will be done. It's just a case of Man United negotiating the agent fee. I mean, agent fees make me feel sick, to be honest. I think it's an absolute disgrace. And they're trying to stamp agent fees out of football, aren't they? I get it that agents need to be paid, but 15 million euros. What's that based on? I mean, what that is based on, right? Just to break it down for you. The release clause is £34 million. 15 million euros is what, about £12 million? Effectively, the agent is saying, Joshua Zirkzee is worth more than 34 million. Give me the difference. I want to pocket the difference. That's effectively what he's saying. So although you get him for 34 million, you then have to give the agent the rest of his market value and probably his family members, and the player gets a massive signing on fee, like what happened with Erling Haaland. Man City got Erling Haaland for like £50 million, but the agent fees and family fees were like £100 million on top of that deal. So the headline will always be Haaland was only £50 million. But if you look at the whole picture, his wages, the signing on fee, how much his dad wanted, how much his agent wanted, it takes it to absolutely astronomical amounts of money. The same with Mbappe, he's a free signing, but if you actually look at the breakdown of that deal, it's crazy, crazy money. So yeah, AC Milan is still really, really keen to sign the player. So it's not a one-horse race. We have to be quick about this, because AC Milan might just turn around and say, you know what, we'll give you the release clause, we'll give you the agent fee, we want the player, and then effectively we're out of the race. Arsenal were really linked to him as well, but the Arsenal links have seemed to have gone really quiet. So I don't know what's happened there. Maybe Arsenal were looking at other players. Maybe they're going to go crazy and try and get Victor Osimhen. Maybe. Everyone who's just joined the video, if you could do me a small favour and smash a like on today's show. We've got over 250 people watching live, which is amazing. If everybody who's watching right now could like the video, we will hit our likes target, which is 200 likes. So please go and do that now. And if you are a new watcher today, please go and subscribe as well. I've just dropped a link in the chat to do that. Make sure you hit the notification bell. That would be very much appreciated. Okay, so we've spoke about Branthwaite. We've spoke about Joshua Zirkzee. Let's talk a little bit about Casemiro. So the headline this morning is that apparently Bayern Munich have approached Manchester United about signing Casemiro. I mean, that's interesting. It says, however, the midfielder was not happy with what Bayern Munich were willing to offer him, and he wants to stay at Manchester United for now. So effectively, Bayern Munich are probably not willing to pay him the 350k a week that Man United are paying him, probably not willing to pay him a signing on bonus. The only people who are going to pay him the money he wants will be Saudi clubs, realistically. Even though Bayern Munich have some quite high earners at their club, Casemiro would be... Actually, no, they've got some really high earners. That's surprising. Just having a look. That's mad. Harry Kane's on 480,000 euros a week at Bayern Munich. So I assume Casemiro has probably gone to Bayern Munich. I want more than what I'm being paid now, because, Bayern Munich have got 4 or 5 players who are earning over 350k a week. Gnabry, Kimmich, Leroy Sané, Thomas Müller, Manuel Neuer, and Harry Kane. That all 5 or 6 of those players are all earning over 350k a week, which is crazy. But I guess in their defense, they are winning the Bundesliga every season. They are competing in the Champions League every season. They're making money, whereas Man United are in the Europa League by winning the FA Cup. Like, we finished 8th. Casemiro doesn't deserve 350k a week to be, the starting midfielder in a team that finished 8th. Like, that doesn't make sense, does it? So, yeah, but apparently Casemiro would like to stay at Manchester United. Alex says, what about a swap deal, Casemiro for De Ligt? I mean, it's a possibility. Like, I hadn't really considered that. De Ligt is on big money as well. He's on about 300k a week. So, yeah, maybe there's a world where De Ligt goes to Man United and Casemiro goes the other way to Bayern Munich. To be honest, I probably would do that deal. If that meant that we could get Branthwaite and De Ligt, I think that'd be pretty good. Because then you'd have Martinez, De Ligt, Branthwaite. I'd probably sell Lindelof, maybe keep Maguire unless a big bid came in, keep Johnny Evans just as a backup. Then you've got Luke Shaw, who can play as left-sided centre-back, and Willy Camboala. Like, that would be a massive, massive improvement, wouldn't it? So, yeah, I'm not against that idea. I think that's quite an interesting proposal, whether, Casemiro goes to Bayern and we get De Ligt in exchange, 43 million pounds. It's probably about right, isn't it? So yeah, I like that idea. I hadn't thought about that, but it probably would work in the wages as well, because they're both kind of in the same wage bracket at the moment. So it's not like one's on 10,000 a week and the other's on 500,000 a week. They're both on about around 300k a week. So yeah, that could work quite nicely, actually. Somebody says, what about Rashford for Musiala? I mean, that would be amazing, but that's not going to happen, unfortunately, my friend. Musiala's value is just going up and up and up and up and up and up and up. Musiala's probably worth, 100, 150 million, realistically. Rashford's probably worth, like 60 tops. But yeah, I don't think Bayern Munich will let Musiala go, to be honest, unless an absolutely astronomical bid came in. Somebody says, I reckon Casemiro will sit on the bench until his contract expires. I do have that fear, to be honest, because there's no real incentive for Casemiro to leave. Yeah, the reports coming out of Brazil say that Casemiro wants to stay at Manchester United and prove that he is still one of the best central defensive midfielders in the world. I'll be honest with you, I think the ship has kind of sailed for Casemiro. I think his first season, he was okay. In his first season, he was really good. His second season was awful. I just don't think he has a place at Man United anymore. I think his legs seem to have gone. He seems slow, off the pace. Yeah, I know he's had to play at centre-back in some games, and, it has been difficult, and I appreciate that. But still, I think, yeah, I don't know. I mean, to be fair, he'll probably look good in the Europa League, because the quality in the Europa League will be a lot less than in the Champions League. But still, Casemiro in the Premier League, I don't know. Maybe it was just because he didn't have Martinez and Varane behind him. Maybe once we've got our back four back, maybe he would become the player he was before. Like, it is quite hard to criticise players last season because of how unbalanced our team was because of all the injuries. It did make it more difficult for the other players, and I accept that. So I'm not saying they all get a free hit because we finished 8th and that's unacceptable, but you do always have to consider that we didn't have a proper back four all season, and how does that then affect the midfielders? Of course, it's going to affect them. How does that affect the attacking players? Martinez was a very progressive centre back, somebody who plays the ball forward, and we didn't have him all season. So how does that affect Rashford, Garnacho, Bruno, etc.? So I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here. I think Casemiro should leave, but maybe there is a world where next season he's still here. We have our solid back four and he does well. Like, it is a possibility, But yeah, I think it's pretty unfair for Casemiro to be one of the best CDMs in the world in August last year. Sorry, not August. In like May last year. And then by Christmas, people are saying he's the worst CDM in the world. So within 5 months, he's gone from being the best CDM in the world, or one of the best CDMs in the world, yeah? In his first season, people were saying how great he was, what an amazing signing he was. And then literally 4 or 5 months later, people are saying he's terrible, get rid of him, So maybe there is some truth in that all of the injuries affected the players, affected the mentality, affected the ability for the other players to play the way they want. I don't know. Maybe I'm just waffling. I'm just trying to look at it from both sides. Somebody says, if Casemiro stays, then what would happen to Amrabat? I think if Casemiro stays, Amrabat wouldn't come, to be honest. I would be very surprised. I think Amrabat, yeah. Mark says, what makes you think that Branthwaite will succeed? What has he done to convince you he is a number one choice for Manchester United? He had a really good loan spell at PSV, which I followed quite closely, and he did really well there. Obviously, he did really well at PSV. He did well last season for Everton. I know they finished quite low, but remember they had a massive points deduction. If Everton didn't have the points deduction, they would have finished at let me have a look. Let's have a look. So the points deduction, they would have finished mid-table, Everton, if they hadn't had the points deduction. So it's easy to say, oh, he was in a relegation team and all the rest of it. They were only in a relegation team because of their points deduction. What do I like about Jarrad Branthwaite? He's much quicker than what we have at the moment. He's fast, he's strong, he's tall, he's good at defending the channels. He can use both feet as well. He's a left-sided centre-back, but he has played at right-sided centre-back for PSV, and he also has played at left-back for Everton. So he's versatile. I just think... I think he'd be a good signing. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's going to be world-class and, we're going to win the league or I'm not going to go down that route. I just think he would be a good signing. He's better than Maguire. He's better than Lindelof. He's better than Johnny Evans. He's an improvement, Nigel says Lindelof's going to leave Man United. Yeah, it does look like Lindelof will go to Fenerbahce, apparently. Obviously, Jose Mourinho is the new manager there. So we'll keep an eye on that one. But, yeah, Graham says, when did the agent fees become a thing? I've rarely heard of this. United getting their pants pulled down again. It's been around for a while, mate. If you look at I'll revert back to the Erling Haaland deal agent fees. Let me get the exact figure. So when Man City signed Erling Haaland, they paid £51 million, right, in transfer fees. They had to pay £40 million to his agent, £40 million to his father, right? So £80 million combined between his agent and his father, then £51 million to Dortmund, and then they also had to give him £850k a week. But the headline will always be Erling Haaland only cost £51 million, because there's all of these hidden, fees and costs and all of these crazy things. I think the black and white of it is this, right? Erling Haaland had a release clause, as an example. Joshua Zirkzee has a release clause. Both of their release clauses are below their market value. If Erling Haaland was on the open market and people were bidding on him, the fee would be around 150 million, right? I imagine. If Joao Felix cost Atletico Madrid, what was it, 100 million, then I'm more than confident that that Erling Haaland would be a 150 million pound player. I mean, they paid even more than that. Benfica sold Joao Felix for 127 million euros. So if Erling Haaland was on the open market, he'd probably be 150 million minimum, right? Easy. And the point I'm trying to make here is the agent and the father and the family will look at it and say, Erling Haaland has a 51 million pound release clause. Joshua Zirkzee has a 34 million pound release clause. Neither of those players are worth that amount of money. Joshua Zirkzee's probably worth 50. If we paid 70 million for Rasmus Højlund last season, right, then Joshua Zirkzee is definitely worth 50. Because Joshua Zirkzee scored more goals in Serie A than Rasmus Højlund. He's achieved more in his career so far than... do you see where I'm going with this? So, effectively, what the agents and the family are doing they're saying, he's worth 50, you're going to give the club 34 million, and we want the rest. And it's pure greed, and it's something that apparently UEFA are trying to stamp out, that they're trying to change the rules. But, yeah, I don't know. I agree it's not a good thing. But it's just the way that football is. There's not really much we can do about it at the moment, unfortunately. And until rules and legislations come in, the agents can effectively ask for whatever they want, and we have to pay it. Yeah, but I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Please make sure to smash a like on your way out. Please do subscribe if you are new. I'll be back at 6 o'clock today for the evening show. I hope everyone has an amazing day, and